So in today's video, I took one attribute away from every single starting quarterback in the league. Now, since injuries are going to be turned off, the injury attribute will not be on the wheel, but every single other attribute, when you go onto the quarterback screen and manage roster, will be on the wheel. So we have 24 attributes in total. I'll read all of them off real quick. We have speed, acceleration, agility, COD, strength, awareness, throw power, short accuracy, medium accuracy, deep accuracy, throw on a run, throw under pressure, break sack, play action, carrying, BCV, juke move, spin move, break tackle, stiff arm trucking, impact blocking, stamina, and toughness. Now the last three are kind of like winning the lottery, okay? They're not gonna have too much of an impact on the quarterback, but come on, man, that's like in 2K winning a million VC. Like, you want to get those three, and you got to have some good options, okay? You got to cut these quarterbacks some slack, and hopefully a few of them land on those. But let's just get right into it, man. We're gonna go alphabetical, starting with the Bears and Justin Fields. Let's see where we're gonna land. Oh, we're gonna take his speed. Bruh. Oh no, that's the worst case scenario for a quarterback that's one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the league. So his speed goes all the way to 0. Also, every quarterback is healthy again, so Joe Burr is back in the starting lineup for the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's see which attribute he's going to be losing. And yes, speed stays on the wheel. All these attributes stay on the wheel. Impact blocking, Bengals catch a break. Next up, the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. Hopefully, for his sake, he lands on something that he doesn't need. Trucking. He kind of uses trucking a lot, so that should have a little bit of an impact, in terms of his scrambling. Now, the Broncos is a little complicated. We're still going to use Russell Wilson because he's the highest overall. You know, he got benched in real life. Yeah, that's how we're going to do it. So the highest overall quarterback on every single team is the one we're going to be focusing on, and he's going to land on trucking as well. Deshaun Watson still the highest overall in Cleveland for now. Okay, playoff time. January Joe might be in the mid 70s. Spin move getting taken away from Mr. Watson. Baker Mayfield, another guy who's in the conversation
for comeback player of the year,
is going to lose all of his play action. Now, no matter what these quarterbacks' new overall is, they're going to remain the starter on their team. So yeah, we'll see what kind of impact that's going to have. Kyler loses his impact blocking, so he stays pretty much the same. Herbert up next. We haven't seen anyone lose anything
too important like throw power,
and that was so close to being the first, but instead Herbert loses his awareness, which is really going to tank his overall, and that could cause him to make some bad mistakes that he normally doesn't. So we're going to see what his stats end up looking like. Juke move is going to be lost by Mahomes, who actually does rely on that. I mean, he can still spin, but no more jukes for Patty. Anthony Richardson, still the highest overall QB in Indianapolis. He's gonna lose his agility. That's a huge blow to his attributes. What are the chances, man? These quarterbacks that like scrambling are losing scrambling attributes. You really hate to see it. Sam Howell gonna lose his speed. So now you go from a guy that had 82 speed and was a decent scrambler to a guy that can't move a lick. And that's just very unfortunate. Next up, the Cowboys. Dak Prescott losing his deep accuracy. Tough blow to the Cowboys offense right there.
Now we're looking at Tua,
and he's going to lose his break sack.
Could have been much worse for Miami.
On to the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts is going to lose his COD. That's a tough one because, he does like scrambling as well. So far, only 2 quarterbacks have to be happy with the spins. Kyler and Burrow landing on impact blocking. Now we're looking at Desmond Ridder. He's losing his break tackle. I'm just now noticing Brock Purdy has pretty good acceleration. Is that where we're going to land? No, it's going to be another A word. Awareness. That should tank his overall as well. Not the best spin if you're Brock Purdy. On to the G-men. Danny Dimes back in the lineup. He's going to go ahead and lose his break tackle. Trevor Lawrence, once again, healthy in the lineup, losing his stiff arm. That bad man. Aaron Rodgers up next. He's going to go ahead and lose his break tackle. Not the worst thing in the world for a guy that, doesn't scramble as much anymore. On to his former division rival, the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff gonna lose his acceleration. That's not the worst thing in the world. The Packers gotta love the way Jordan has been playing, but We'll see if they love how he looks after losing his BCV. On to the Panthers, #1 overall pick, Bryce Young. Gonna be losing his impact blocking. Panthers catch a break.
Now we're looking at the Patriots and Mac Jones, and luckily for New England he only loses his spin move.
Hey, on the Raiders, Jimmy G's still the highest overall, smack dab at 69, and he's losing his CLD. Matthew Stafford, let's see what we're taking away from him. Finally we land on some sort of accuracy, medium accuracy. Surprised it took this long, man. That is really unfortunate for the Rams because, you know, they love passing it to Cooper and Puka. Anywho, on to Lamar Jackson, and he's losing his acceleration. Worst case scenario, actually second worst case scenario for the Ravens. Speed would have been worst. We'll see how much of an effect that has on them. It's really tough. I mean, but hey, Lamar is still elite at passing. He's proven it this season. So yeah, I don't know if that's gonna change things too much. On to the Saints with Derek Carr. He's losing his COD. Geno Smith, let's see what he's gonna go ahead and take all the way down to 0. It's his impact blocking. Seahawks cash a break. They win the theoretical lottery right there. We're on to the Steelers. Kenny Pickett losing his carrying. He already has really small hands, man. That's a huge blow. On to the Texans. CJ Stroud gonna be losing an attribute that you know, it kind of matters for him. He likes scrambling here and there. Break tackle. Tannehill time. Let's see what the Titans are gonna take away from their starting quarterback, the stiff arm. And last but not least, Kirk Cousins back in the Minnesota starting lineup, and he's gonna lose his carrying. Play action would have been really tough. He has one of the highest in the league, but they catch a break as well. Updated look at the new quarterbacks overalls and where they stand. You can see a lot of ones. That's as low as they let you go on every attribute. It would be nice if they let you go to 0, but it's kind of the same thing regardless. Let's see who has the biggest fall off from grace in this experiment. Like the video for waffles too, okay? If you don't like it, the video doesn't get pushed, and then you're taking food off of her table, man. Don't be like that. Bills go 15-2, best record in the league. Bengals, Dolphins, Ravens, Jags, Broncos, and Chiefs all make it to the postseason. Chargers with a depleted Justin Herbert end up with the worst record in the AFC. Meanwhile, in the NFC, the Cowboys get the 1 seed. They go 14-3. Buccaneers, Packers, Eagles, Falcons, Saints, and 49ers still made it, even though Purdy dropped to like low 70s, high 60s. Stafford and the Rams struggled. The Lions went 5-12. Vikings go 3-14. Fields without his speed still threw 21 touchdowns, 11 picks. Still had 3 touchdowns on the ground, 3 yards a carry. Probably a lot lower than it would have been if he still had his speed. Joe Burr still produced to the best of his abilities. All he lost was his impact. Almost had 50 touchdowns. Josh Allen, 30 touchdowns, less than 4,000 yards. Still had 6 touchdowns on the ground. Almost had 5 yards a carry without his trucking. Good season from him. Dangerous Wilson almost had 4,000 passing yards. He lost his trucking as well. Still had 5 rushing touchdowns. Deshaun Watson, not the best season. A lot of interceptions. He lost his spin move. Still had 4 touchdowns on the ground. Baker lost his play action. Still had a pretty good season though. 28 touchdowns, 13 picks. Kyler lost his impact blocking, and somehow that had a huge impact on his stats. 16 interceptions, 20 touchdowns through the air, only 3 on the ground. Not the best season for Mr. Murray. Herbert threw only 1 more touchdown than interception. Remember, his awareness went all the way to 0, so that obviously had a huge impact on his overall and his stats during the season. Mahomes still went crazy. 38 touchdowns, only 10 picks. He lost his juke move, but he still had 4 touchdowns on the ground, averaged 5 yards a carry. Might be the best we've seen from a quarterback so far. Richardson with a horrendous season, 21 interceptions, 16 touchdowns. Now he's still young, so that's not that bad for a rookie. Also had 6 touchdowns on the ground, so still ended up with more touchdowns than interceptions. And he lost his agility, so given the context, it's not that bad. Sam Howell, he lost his speed, still had 27 touchdowns through the air, 0 touchdowns on the ground. Yeah, you're not gonna run past anyone with 0 speed. Dak Prescott lost his deep accuracy and still had a pretty good season. 36 touchdowns, 17 picks, 1 touchdown on the ground for him. Tua Tagovailoa with the best season we've seen so far. He lost his break sack, but that didn't really stop him at all. Only 3 interceptions. He added 3 more touchdowns on the ground, 42-3. touchdown interception ratio, he's in the running for MVP. Hurts 19 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Lost his COD, but still had 17 rushing touchdowns. It did not matter. 31 touchdowns, 18 picks for Desmond Ridder. He lost his break tackles, had 2 touchdowns on the ground. 18 touchdowns, 19 picks for Brock Purdy. Now he lost his awareness, so him and Herbert took probably the biggest blow of any of these quarterbacks. 0 touchdowns on the ground, and they still made the playoffs, so that shows how good that roster is. And then on the Giants, break tackle was taken away from Daniel Jones. He threw 5 more interceptions than touchdowns, made up for it a little bit with 4 rushing touchdowns. Still not the greatest season. Trevor Lawrence, 27-9 TD to interception ratio. He lost a stiff arm, and that led to him getting 0 rushing touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, 21-12 ratio. He lost his break tackle, still had 1 rushing TD. Jared Goff, I don't know what happened to the Lions, man. He still had a good season, 24-11 ratio and a rushing touchdown as well. 28 touchdowns for Jordan Love, only 15 INTs. He lost his BCV, and that led to nothing in terms of the run game from the Packers quarterback. Bryce Young threw 5 more touchdowns than interceptions. He had 4 rushing touchdowns, not a bad season for him, given that he lost only his impact blocking, so yeah, it didn't change too much. Mac Jones threw 5 more picks than touchdowns. He lost his spin move, so I don't know why that affected his passing stats, or maybe that's just what he produced, normally. Anywho, Jimmy G, 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, lost his COD. That affected his rushing quite a lot, even though he wasn't the biggest runner even before then. Stafford, 5 more touchdowns than interceptions after losing his medium accuracy, so yeah, his interception definitely went up as a result. Touchdown, obviously went down. On to the Ravens. Lamar, 28 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 9 rushing touchdowns, even losing his acceleration. So I'm guessing speed would have been a bigger impact than acceleration, but he was still able to excel to his top speed, even though that top speed wasn't that high. You know what I'm saying? Derek Carr, 28 touchdowns, 11 INTs. He lost his COD, and he wasn't the biggest scrambler even before that. As for Geno, only 1 more touchdown than INTs, and he lost his impact blocking, so I'm not sure what happened there. Unfortunate season from him. Kenny Pickett lost his carrying. He threw 4 more interceptions than touchdowns. Let's see, no fumbles though. That's a good sign, you know what I'm saying? He took care of the football. CJ Stroud, 4 more touchdowns than INTs. Was expecting some better numbers from him. Had 1 rushing touchdown. Tannehill, 23 touchdowns, only 9 picks. He lost his stiff arm and was still able to get into the end zone on one of his rushing attempts. And last but not least, Kirk Cousins, 22 touchdowns, 9 INTs, no rushing touchdowns, and no fumbles, even though he lost his carrying. So quarterbacks were taking care of the football. Looking at the league leaders, Mahomes had the most pass yards. Burrow, Prescott, Cousins, and Carr all threw 4,000 plus. Burrow had the most passing touchdowns with 46. Tua, Mahomes, Prescott, and Ridder rounding out the top 5. Here's a look at how all of them stacked up. Best pass rating of all that qualified goes to Tua Tagovailoa, 125.5. Burrow right behind him. Lamar, Mahomes, and then Russell Wilson tied with Josh Allen at 5th. As for the other stats in the league, let's look at the best rushers. Jacobs, Henry, Barkley, McCaffrey, Aaron Jones. And we're gonna scroll down. You guys can slow it down if you want. There's everyone that had 1,000 plus. Brian Robinson right outside. He was 3 yards away. Hurts had the 2nd most rushing touchdowns behind Josh Jacobs, tied with JT and Breece Hall. Just unbelievable from him. But look at CD Lamb, 1,462 yards, most in the league. Keenan, Jamar, Tyreek, Stephon Diggs. And we're going to scroll down to see all the wide receivers that had at least 1,000 receiving yards. And here are the reception leaders: Jefferson, Kelsey, CD, Chase, Diggs, Olave, Rasheed Rice. I mean, it's a great rookie right there. Finally getting the recognition he deserves. And then receiving touchdowns, Cooper Kupp at the top, CD, Chase, Boyd, Kelsey, and Michael Thomas. Everyone that had at least 10. Let's look at the defensive stats real quick. Cody Barton had the most tackles, 22.5 sacks for Aaron Donald. Low-key would be the official record in Madden. If you look at the record books, he would have broken the record. So nasty season. Max Crosby, 19 sacks, 16 for Parsons, 14.5 for Alex Highsmith, and then Quentin Williams, 13.5, 9 INTs for Fred Warner. Holy, 7 INTs for Tre'Davious, and then a bunch of guys with 6. 25 tackles for lost. Crosby, Quentin tied for the most. I think that's a record too. I looked it up yesterday. 23 was the most in the NFL. So both guys set a record. Same with Cameron Hayward. Khalil Mack ties the record. Crazy season from them. Burrow wins MVP. Tua ends up 2nd. Lamar ends up 3rd. Mahomes and Hurts round out the top 5. Josh Jacobs in the top 8 for MVP. I'm glad to see running backs getting represented. He wins OPOY. DPOY goes to Max Crosby. So Raiders with a nasty season. DPOY in the NFC goes to Aaron Donald. Hurts wins OPOY. Here's a look at Jacobs' season. Again, almost had 2,000 yards on the ground, 19 touchdowns, only 1 fumble. And he added 2 touchdowns through the air and had 2,000 all-purpose yards. So yeah, nasty season from him. Here's a look at our playoff bracket. Bills and Cowboys with the 1 seeds. Now they're facing off against the Chiefs and Saints respectively. Here's what happened in the wild card round. Bengals got blown out by Kansas City. Saints won a close one against division rival Tampa Bay. Ravens blew out the Jaguars. Packers edged the Falcons. Dolphins take care of the Broncos, and Philly takes care of San Fran. And they do the same to Green Bay. Cowboys win against the Saints. Bills take care of the Chiefs, and the Dolphins win a thriller against the Ravens. We have 4 teams left. Buffalo finally gets revenge in the playoffs against KC. Cowboys win by 1 possession against the Saints. Same with the Dolphins and the Ravens, and then the Eagles took care of the Packers. Had to show it this way so you know there's no forced wins. This would be absolute cinema if this happened in the playoffs at any point, even if it's not in the conference championship game. And division games in the playoffs always go crazy. It would be nice to have both teams at full strength as well. Now, to remind you of what these quarterbacks lost, Tua lost his break sack, so if he gets even touched at any point, he's going down. Meanwhile, Josh Allen lost his trucking, so that should affect his scrambling just a little bit. Clearly not enough to keep them out of the conference championship game. Dolphins gonna get a quick 3 and out in their first possession. Rousseau with the sack. It's 4th and 20. Great field position for the Bills. 2nd and 5 right now. Josh Allen gonna find his receiver Davis, getting him across midfield. Oh, here comes the blitz. Stephon Diggs with a catch this time. Allen perfect on the game so far. 2nd down and 3. 2 tight ends set. First run for James Cook. He's going nowhere. 3 tight ends set on 3rd and 1. It's gonna be a pass. Oh, incomplete. Ramsey with good coverage on Stephon. Let's see if they attempt a field goal. They are. Gonna be about a 52-yarder. Tyler Bass is gonna make it, and the Bills go up early. Alrighty, low scoring game so far. Will it stay this way? Heading to half number 2. Dolphins get the first touchdown of the game early in the 2nd. They take the lead into the 3rd quarter. Bills keeping it close to only 1-point game. Heading to the 4th. I spoke too soon. Wait a minute. It's tied up. Allen has his team moving and grooving. Less than a minute 20 left. Both teams still have all 3 timeouts, but the Bills are looking to just ice this game. Get a field goal at the buzzer. Uh-oh. 3rd and inches. Good stop by the Dolphins. That keeps them in this game. Now Bass still needs to make this kick. Can he make it happen? There it is. 1 timeout, 42 seconds left for Tua to get down the field. Starting off with a completion, but that only gets them 5 yards. Here comes the no huddle. Less than 30 seconds left. They're taking their jolly old time to hike this football. That's a nice pass to his tight end, who gets them in field goal range. What a laser. Only 3 incompletions on the game by Tua. Here it is to tie this up and send us into overtime in the conference championship game. Jason Sanders' kick is up. And it's wide right. The Bills are moving on to the Super Bowl for the first time since the 90s. Here are the stats, man. Tua did his thing. Only 3 incompletions on the game is nasty. Allen did pretty well. Even without his trucking, he was able to get some yards on the ground. 2.5 sacks by Vaughn. The pressure was there. Him and Rousseau. Cowboys with home field in this one. And we know how nasty they've been at home, so that could be a huge advantage. Swift on his first carry, only getting 1 yard. To remind you of what both quarterbacks lost. Hurts lost his change of direction. Dak Prescott lost his deep accuracy. Jalen finding Goddard, gonna bring up a 3rd down very short. Eagles run game you thought was gonna suffer, but 17 rushing touchdowns. I'm pretty sure that's a record. I mean, look at this. He doesn't need COD. He still has the speed and the juke move. Eagles are across midfield. Maybe the most watched conference championship game ever. If the Eagles and Cowboys met somehow this year in the conference championship game, Julio, who had a nice game, 2 touchdowns, man. You love to see him turn back the clock. Wish he would get more tick, and we will stop running so many quarterback draws and wide receiver screens. Anyways, enough of that. Hurts, oh my goodness, what a laser. DeAndre Swift putting the Eagles on top. But as we've seen all season, the Eagles defense has just been horrendous. So yeah, there's no doubt in my mind Dallas will be able to, you know, keep up in this one. Prescott finds his tight end. Next play, it's going to be a run. Look at Pollard not getting touched until he's like 10 yards down the field. Looks like Slay's going to be sent on the blitz. Otherwise, they're double teaming Brandon Cooks and not CeeDee Lamb. Okay, well, it was zone coverage or Slay just made a break on the ball. Either way, incomplete. And now Brandon Aubrey is going to try to make this from about 53 yards away. He should have the leg. Does he have the accuracy? Yes. Cowboys are on the board. Now, just so you know, you cannot force win when you're watching a game in sim. Whatever you see in a sim is what the outcome is going to be. So the Eagles win. Don't blame me, all right? I'm just a bystander just like you, and it doesn't look like Eagles are going to win anyways. 30-13 at one point. Cowboys took over this game in the second half. They're headed to the Super Bowl. Unfortunate way to go out. Hurts killed it though. Only 6 incompletions, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Him and Prescott both had great games, but Pollard could not be stopped. I'm telling you, that defense, I don't know what it is. They just don't have talent. They don't have enough. You know what I'm saying? So now Dallas versus Buffalo in the Super Bowl. 1 seed versus 1 seed. How often does that happen, man? It should be a good one. Bunch to the left. Another pass. Allen stand in the pocket. Finding Stephon, who gets tackled by his brother. That would 100% be the biggest storyline in this matchup. It's Diggs versus Diggs, just like Kelsey versus Kelsey. I mean, you would hear about that all day, every day, for 2 weeks straight. Oh, James Cook almost catches that off the tip. LVE with a nice breakup, bringing up a 3rd and 10 chance for the Cowboys defense to get off the field on their first possession. Lawrence and Parsons both rushing a quarterback, but it's the D tackle who forces the fumble. Lawrence picks it up. Cowboys in great field position, and now Dallas is pretty much guaranteed at least 3 as long as they don't do anything dumb in terms of play calling. Dak still has that medium accuracy. He finds Brandon Cooks, picks up a huge chunk. 16-yard line is where Dallas resides on his 1st and 10. Prescott to the other side. Touchdown Dallas. Gallup gives them the lead. Cowboys already beat Buffalo in the Super Bowl before. The Bills trying to get some revenge. They're sticking around, only getting field goals though. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Cowboys have an 8-point lead in the 3rd quarter. This is a very pivotal moment. They take 2-possession lead, but Buffalo ties it up. Man in motion. Jet sweep to Brandon Cooks. Great play call. They get the 1st down and then some. 2-minute warning has been reached. Prescott gonna get taken down. Daquan Jones with the sack. 3rd down and 20. Bills have a chance to make a huge play. Just gotta get the tackle. There it is. They're gonna get the football back with over a minute left and 2 timeouts remaining, and all they need is a field goal. Can Josh make it happen? After losing his trucking, can he still help the Bills win the Super Bowl? Diggs cooks Gilmore on that route, gets the huge gain. They're across midfield, multiple tight ends in a game, but it's going to be a pass. He's going right back to Stephon. They cannot cover him. Tyler Bass to give the Bills their 1st Super Bowl win in NFL history. And there you have it. Buffalo would win it all if we took one attribute away from every quarterback in the league. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Hit that subscribe button if you're new, and like the video for waffles, man.